Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the book of Daniel. Today we're concluding chapter 6, Daniel's rescue from the lion's den. We want to look at the response of Darius, the king, when Daniel is rescued. Let's pick up at verse 24. Now at the king's command, the men who had falsely accused Daniel were brought in. They were thrown into the lion's den. And before they reached the floor of the den, the lions overpowered them and crushed all their bones. Those who had plotted evil against Daniel and conspired against him, they should have known Darius would be upset with them when he realized what they had done, but they did it anyway. And after Daniel is delivered, what they planned for Daniel is now returned upon them. Darius has them thrown into the den of lions. There is no deliverance for them, and their lives are lost. And then Darius responds by sending out a proclamation to all of his empire, praising the God of Israel. Now this is very similar to what Nebuchadnezzar had done years before. When the 3 Hebrew children were delivered from the fiery furnace, he had sent out the proclamation to praise the God of Israel. Darius does the same thing now. Notice what he writes, it's verse 25. So King Darius wrote to all the nations, all the peoples of every language in all the earth. So all the peoples in his empire, which the Persian Empire is pretty expansive at this time. He says, "May you prosper greatly. I issue a decree that in every part of my kingdom, people must fear and reverence the God of Daniel. He is the living God. He endures forever. His kingdom will not be destroyed. His dominion will never end. He rescues and he saves. He performs signs and wonders in the heavens and on the earth. He has rescued Daniel from the power of the lions." So Darius has come to realize that the God of Daniel, the God of Israel, he is the most high God. And he commands all peoples to reverence him. He even realizes that the kingdom of God is the only eternal kingdom. That God on high is eternal over all. All the kingdoms of this world are merely passing. The kingdom of God is an eternal kingdom. Now the question arises, as it did with Nebuchadnezzar earlier, is this really a conversion? We had determined that after a time, Nebuchadnezzar was probably truly converted. And so we wonder about Darius. But we're not sure. We think maybe he was. For certain, he comes to realize that the God of Israel, the God of Daniel, is the God of gods, the king over all. But whether it's a true conversion or not, we just don't know. I suspect maybe it was, but we're just not certain. Now you remember, in the session from yesterday, I told you that we identified Darius and Cyrus as the same person. 2 names for one person, which is very common in the book of Daniel. It may be that this deliverance of Daniel from the lion's den, causing Darius to recognize the God of Israel as the God of gods, the king of all. This may have been what moved Cyrus the Persian to issue his proclamation that any Jew who wanted to could return home. We know from historical records that Cyrus was the one who allowed the Jews in exile in Babylon. After all those years in exile, he was the one who allowed them to return home. Since we've identified Darius and Cyrus as the same person, it may have been this event that triggered the proclamation of Cyrus. He now realizes that God is God. The God of Israel, he is God. And so he issues his proclamation that the children of the God of Israel, the Israelites, the Jews, they can go home. The long exile finally comes to an end, and the Jewish people are allowed to return to their homeland and to rebuild their nation. And may very well be linked with this deliverance from the den of lions. Of Daniel, Darius' recognition that your God is truly God. What a wonderful story. Tomorrow in our 5-minute Bible study, we'll start looking at chapter 7. And this we're going to look at a vision that Daniel has of 4 kingdoms to come. But we'll look at that in our next 5-minute Bible study in the book of Daniel. Hope you join us for it.